Welcome to another episode of Biohacking Beauty, the podcast where we break down the science of skin health and explore innovative ways to age gracefully and beautifully. I'm your host, Amitai Eshel, and I'm here on behalf of Young Goose Skincare, the company I co founded with my lovely wife, Anastasia. Skincare that is biohacking your skin's youth. So at Young Goose, we are dedicated to empowering you to take control of your skin's aging process with the latest in skincare and biohacking research. Today, we are excited to welcome PJ Sorbo to the show. PJ is a prolific entrepreneur that is behind some of the probably the most talked about, the most used ingredients and mechanisms in supplements. His background in entrepreneurship is anything from brain health to again supplementation to really anything that involves longevity ingredients. PJ has been there and done that and has succeeded there. In this episode, PJ and I will share insights into the industry of longevity, how strategies to choosing the right supplements, choosing the right skincare that is really going to move the needle, looking beyond the veil of advertising, of messaging, what really works, what messages are truthful and which ones aren't. And we're also obviously there is something really cool in the end. If you're going to wait until the end, you are going to be very happy you did. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the Biohacking Beauty podcast and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Your support helps us continue to bring you top skincare experts and valuable biohacking insights. But now, without further ado, let's welcome PJ Sorbo. The great and powerful PJ, aka Paul Sorbo, welcome to the Biohacking Beauty podcast finally.
Thank you, buddy. It's good to be here.
First of all, I love the background. I love the background. Very cool. Yeah. So, PJ, you and I have known each other for a long, long time, and we have run in the same circles. And obviously, you are a kind of a unicorn in the business world, where because you only mean well, and you're still here and you're thriving. So it's pretty rare to see.
I tried to do my best. Cool stuff with cool people. That's all that matters.
Definitely, 100%. So basically, it's I think a question that Chelsea, shout out to Chelsea, the producer. She doesn't like that I ask, but I think it's a good question to start, especially you, where you come to this field of longevity wellness as an entrepreneur. I think the people who deal with wellness or alternative health for a living, they come from like two different areas for the most part, and I don't know where to put you. So first is people who have dealt with a personal issue. It kind of solved something for them. They became passionate, and they're now kind of sharing their passion. And the second are like absolute nerds that are just like obsessed with like a specific, like me, obsessed with like a specific, puzzle, specific trajectory. So there are kind of two people, I believe, in the realm. Obviously, there it's a scale, but first is like people who are who have gone through a personal journey. Allopathic medicine couldn't solve something, or whatever their primary care doctor couldn't solve. They found a way to solve it that is off of the beaten path, if you would. And now they are a proponent of whatever that is, or started their journey. And now they've evolved through that. And then there are people like myself that are just complete nerds for like a specific, that is their journey, right? Like they are interested in something specific, and they have committed to it as far as their life
Totally.
trajectory. What created what created the passion for you? Where are you in all of that?
It's a good question. I actually kind of feel like I'm a hybrid between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So first, I grew up as a action sports athlete, for lack of a better term. So downhill mountain biking,
Mm-hmm.
competitive snowboarding, and I broke everything that you could break.
Mm-hmm.
And I had more concussions than most people should. And so I had my last really, really big concussion when I was 15 on my last snowboard competition. And that was it for me. Brain
Mm-hmm.
injury, the whole shebang. And we won't go into that story. But when I was starting one of my other companies, my health and wellness company, and as we were exiting it, I was really tired of the brain fog.
Okay.
And you and I got connected originally through the brain scanning company that I work
Yeah.
with, Wavi. And I had not heard about Wabi. I didn't know what it was. And a life mentor of mine, before I was going into hyperbarics for stem cells or whatever else I was going to do it, looking at healing or trying to heal my brain, was like, you need to go get a Wabi scan before you do anything else. And so I did, and I saw this opportunity to change the way that people or think of, the brain, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
neuroplasticity real? Is it not real? What actually can improve your cognition, what can't improve your cognition, what is cognition, what is mitochondrial support the brain. And so that opened up this whole pathway of like exploration into really like neuroscience. I always wanted to be in the medical field. I went to school to be a neurologist or an orthopedic surgeon for my undergrad. But while I was there, I got really involved in bodybuilding. And
Mm-hmm.
I have this controversial kind of take. I think that bodybuilders were the first biohackers like
I think
years
so too.
ago.
I think the two drivers of longevity are bodybuilders and cancer research. I think these are the
Yes,
two goalposts.
I agree with you. Spot
Yeah.
on. So, I mean, dude, I was playing with hormones. Not that you should be, right? This is not a proponent of this, but
Yeah.
I was playing with substances and hormones when I was 19, 20, 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all through exploration, right? Growth hormone upregulators, testosterone, different compounds. And there was there was bro science. That's all there was
Mm-hmm.
out there, right? There was bodybuilding.com threads, and there was just reading everything you could. And so ultimately,
From the University of Trust Me, Bro.
exactly, just trust me, bro. It's exactly what you need to do. Breast milk, it's what you need to do. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
was the dumbest things on planet Earth. So you ended up becoming your own science experiment.
Yeah.
And I became really passionate. I mean, I got up massively in weight. I mean, I graduated high school at 135 pounds. And
Wow.
then my freshman year of college, I was 210. Right. So
Wow.
like obviously something changed. As I'm telling my parents, oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm just
No.
eating more. Right. Of course. Um, but then there's a negative side to all of that as well, right? Like your body is chronically inflamed, you're not healthy, you're tearing muscles, your muscular structure. I was not designed to be 260 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That was not what my body frame was supposed to be. And so getting your body back from that other side of chronic abuse
Yeah.
and issues, trying to start your natural testosterone production, going through the fertility journey with my wife, which obviously you know about. So that's where a lot of the passion came from. But I've never not had the passion for the human body. I mean, even in high school, I was at a 2 week long, young entrepreneur / young medicine thing where I got to be in cardiovascular surgeries and arm surgeries and open heart surgeries. And so I've always loved, this whole concept of medicine.
Very cool. Yeah, to your point, before we continue, that's something I try to explain a lot, like in long form lectures, which is really, the whole idea of longevity. First of all, longevity. Maybe we'll talk about longevity is being usurped. The word, the same
Yeah.
as like anti-aging. I mean, I just recorded a podcast, a very interesting podcast, but it's a dermatologist that still used the word, and that's not a knock on her whatsoever, but she's
No.
used the to describe the achievement of result, she used the word anti-aging, which anti-aging has nothing to do with, age reversal or the appearance of youth. No, anti-aging means resisting aging.
Right.
But I think now longevity is being usurped to the same in the same capacity where longevity, I'm sure most people are still thinking of longevity as the extension of lifespan. Longevity now means something completely different. It's going to replace, by the way, anti-aging. It is
I
going
agree with you.
it's going to mean what anti-aging means now. That's number one.
Yes.
Um, uh, even A4M, American Academy for Anti-Aging Medicine. I mean, it's even in even
But now it's being referred to as longevity fest,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
there's some the synonym, the synonymy there is
Yeah,
just they go hand in hand. But I
but
do agree.
yeah, but to my point was that you could really look at three things. You can look at optimal performance or your current performance, optimal
Yep,
performance, resilience, and longevity. So health span extension. Okay.
so I look at health span and lifespan differently,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah. 100%. But I would say like these are the three things that you could think of. Should I? If but and normally they don't. The Venn diagram is very finite. It means like if you are trying to max out one, you will pay for it with the other one. So for example, you talked about bodybuilding and using different compounds to increase optimal performance, but you're paying for it both, by the way, with your health span, right? With
mhm,
the years that you'll be able to continue your healthy with a healthy body, but also resilience, like you mentioned, tearing muscles, and
totally.
in skin we see it all the time. We talk about, whether it is devices that we don't recommend, or anything that you're going to do right now and you're going to say, I want to look my best for that wedding that I'm going for, or whatever that is. You're going to pay for it in other things. So anyway, the three things should always be in balance. But that was just to your point of bodybuilding and why it's not ideal for the human body.
Well, it's unhealthy for the human body. That's the
Yeah.
reality of it.
Yeah.
There's a point where things are good, and then there's a point where you can take it entirely too far, right? Like,
Yeah.
so just because something is good does not mean more is better,
Yeah.
right? Caffeine can be good. More is not better. Nicotine can be beneficial for a certain individual. More is not better.
Mm-hmm.
Testosterone, hormone therapy, good in certain aspects. More is not better. We
Mm-hmm.
have to remember that things, especially like testosterone, hormones, any of that kind of stuff, overproduction and or a surplus of those they become extremely inflammatory to the body.
Yeah.
Nobody needs, I was taking, 500 to 1,000 milligrams of testosterone a week. That
Yeah.
is not that is not a longevity dose.
No.
Nobody needs that circulating level of anabolics in their bloodstream.
Yeah.
Um, it's just so to your point, health span is I do view health span and lifespan differently. Lifespan is
Yeah.
how long
Mm-hmm.
we're going
Mm-hmm.
to live. Health span is what is the quality of those years?
Yeah. 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 I agree 100%. I would say, to connect to your point, something pretty interesting to look at is most of what we're going to do with kind of maxing out performance, or by the way, maxing out resilience or maxing out health span. I'll give example to all three, so it's going to make sense. They normally are not really about introducing other ingredients into our body. It's more like bypassing the natural stop gaps and
Yes.
processes our body naturally has, and we need to understand that they are there for a reason. So we talked about obviously testosterone, but we also, we know that exposing ourselves to pathogens improves our immune system, right?
Right.
But it also ages you. So
It does.
E. coli, for example, is obviously it's going to make your stomach more resilient if you did it slowly or whatever. But E. coli also depletes your NAD, just as an example. And also lifespan, like fasting, right? Intermittent fasting, but like long, 3 day, 7 day fast. Fantastic. Probably increases autophagy if you have enough spermidine.
Probably.
Increases autophagy and maybe extends your lifespan, but you are becoming less resilient if you get.
Yes.
You know what? Let's talk about maybe fasting is controversial. Rapamycin, a longevity drug that reduces senescent cells, right? If you get scraped while doing a rapamycin dose, you might like not heal. I mean, or heal significantly slower.
Slower.
Yeah. So that's to the
Well,
point of balance.
there's positive and negative feedback loops for everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reality. Like every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And that's what we need to take into account with a lot of these things. Everyone can say that, it's so funny because all this is welcome to life, longevity or health span
Yeah.
or anti-aging as a whole. This is my problem with this industry right now as a whole, is that there's conflicting opinions everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And I wouldn't even call you and I experts in this field.
Hmm.
I don't know who is an expert. I think we're enthusiasts of this field. I
Hmm.
think that we are people that stay up to the most recent, science and or studies and or clinicals that are
Yeah.
coming out regularly. But I think about the general consumer, the general population. What do you trust?
Yeah.
What is the right thing to listen to? Because I feel like I go on social media nowadays and everything is going to kill me, right?
Hmm.
Or here's the top 5 things that are depleting your testosterone count the fastest, the top 5
Yeah.
things that are killing your sperm count, the top 5 things that are destroying your longevity, your health span, your lifespan, your top 5 things that are causing inflammatory complex. And you look at it and like, you could make an argument for the carnivore diet, right?
Yeah.
But the reality of the fact is that, mTOR has been shown to potentially not be the most highly great contributor to longevity.
Yeah.
So you're going on this massive protein diet, protein and fat, but you're probably going to upregulate your mTOR.
Yeah.
And then you look at the science behind that, and some of the science would say probably shouldn't do that for longevity. Hence, you have the spike of vegan diets or the Mediterranean diets, which is limiting mTOR. And so you look at those things, you're like, well, is that the right thing? Is the carnivore diet the right thing? Is the Mediterranean diet right? What is the right thing? And I think you and I talk about this all the time. I think the reality of the fact is it's finding the right thing for you.
Hmm. Yeah.
And there are blanket principles that I think that are good to follow. I think there are great educators in this space. I would consider you a great educator in this space because I think you're willing to have open conversations about a lot of these things,
Hmm.
and both the positive and the negative side of most of this.
Yeah.
You and I both own supplement companies,
Yeah.
and or skincare, whatever else you want to classify those as. And we can both say, hey, they're the magic pill for a lot of things, but we also know there's no magic pill.
Yeah.
A supplement is that, right? And without a lot of these lifestyle factors, there's only so much that we can do.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, especially when I'm going to throw something under the bus because it's owned by Monsanto, so I don't care. Especially things like urolithin A, for example, like
Oh yeah.
you know, company called MitoPure. Again, actually, I used to really like them, but then they got bought out by Monsanto. Anyway, so, but, I see ads like, oh, increase your muscle mass by like 12% without exercise. Or like things you're getting into the realm of like educating people for like bad habits. You're like going against health basically because you are committed to selling an ingredient like it's a holy grail ingredient or something like that.
Agreed.
And I think it is a combination, looking from the side and being in the obviously being in business in biohacking longevity. It is the combination of raising money and having biased towards a specific ingredient that you're telling us the story of that ingredient in order to raise money and then to
Totally.
justify the money being raised.
Well, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, let's go down the rabbit hole of, David Sinclair and looking at ingredients and how they get monetized, the amount of I mean, I think he's done great things for the longevity field, anti-aging fields from an awareness perspective. But when you look at NMN or when you look at resveratrol, um, I don't think the data is great, right? If you
I
really dive into it,
Yeah,
I think there's positive correlations, no ifs, ands, or buts. But then there's also how many millions of dollars have gone into, publicizing those ingredients. And when you look at it from a topical perspective, I love the data there. But the ingestion side of things, we need to look at and we need to ask the questions. We need to
yeah.
be able to, we need to look at things not not too in depth because we're also early adopters, right? Let's look at hop. A lot of
Hmm.
the ingredients that Amy and I had formulated hop with the help of our good friends, we believe that there is massive positive correlations and there is a lot of clinical efficacy behind it. But we're also early adopters. We don't necessarily know. And what are the lifestyle factors that are actually counteracting what these ingredients can potentially do in the body? We don't know.
Well, I will play. I agree with you, and I will strengthen your argument. I would say so. I don't know if it's about early adoption per se. I think we are, and I think the industry is driven by early adopters,
Yes,
quite
agreed.
certainly. And I think also probably most of the people listening are early adopters, or else they wouldn't have found the podcast, etc. But I think that it's a discussion. It's a slightly different discussion. It's about the. It's kind of what we started with. It's about the ability of allopathic medicine, of substantial medicine, and the gateways that are now imposed on that industry, and the inability to provide solutions that have gone through all of the qualifications needed, that gives birth and gives legitimacy to saying something like, here is a mechanistic approach. That's what the mechanism does, which that's where I
Right.
think I agree with David Sinclair. David Sinclair says, hey, if you have less NAD, you are that's like not your best strategy for longevity. Okay.
Couldn't agree more.
NAD, no NAD equals you die. Okay.
It's big.
Now it's big, as our next president is going to say, it's big, but
Big.
it's big. But the problem is when you are, as you said, is when you start needing to make money off of one of those things, and
It's
you
key.
are starting to, I would say, overhype the possible benefits
Yes.
without taking into consideration that more data needs to be, uncovered, etc. I think it's the honest person would say, hey, this is what we know right now. We are quite certain that more data will show we're right. There is no risk, therefore, or there's very little risk, that
Low
from
risk,
low
right?
low risk from whatever we've observed and studied. There is no risk unless you are, and then you give parameters.
Right.
So you should try it, um and
I
again, yeah.
I feel like this is gonna nail this point home. I'm on a
Mhm,
conference call the other day with a company that I've been working building out a longevity clinic for. And they implement Wavi. They use Wavi in their um
mhm,
basically call it base camp. So every patient that comes in is getting a cognitive assessment. Um the reality of the fact is that when they ask me, well, what do we do once we have this data? And I'm going to give a very high level overview of Wavi. The bread and the butter of the Wavi system is measuring something called P300 in its voltage and speed. So how much energy your brain has to process information with, as well as how quickly it is able to process that information with.
mhm.
Um, in layman terms, I call it a representation of mitochondrial energy in the cortex. And so the question is, well, does red light therapy improve it? Does cold laser therapy to improve it? Does hyperbaric chambers? Does sauna? Well, there is a number of things that can cause mitochondrial dysfunction, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one thing. Inflammatory complex can cause mitochondrial dysfunction. Lack of perfusion can cause mitochondrial dysfunction. Lack of methylation or a methylation problem can cause mitochondrial dysfunction, right? The influx or the overproduction of senescent cells that are unable to be drained and cleared out, causing inflammatory complex and neurological issues, can cause mitochondrial dysfunction. And so it's really easy to want to look for a blanket answer and say red light therapy improves P300 voltage by X%. But we don't actually know what the limiting factor of that mitochondrial support is.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important for us to have measurements. It's important for us to be able to ask the question, both subjectively and objectively, what is working, what is not working?
Mm-hmm.
Because not everything is going to work for everybody. We know that there are principles that work for a mass majority of the population.
Yeah.
Increasing NAD support, no ifs, ands, or buts, a great thing. I think most people have metabolic damage and or mitochondrial dysfunction, right? And so things that help support mitochondrial function, metabolic support, things that help support collagen production in the skin, like there are things that we can make absolute blanket statements and the risk is very, very low. I think it's important to realize that we still do need data on some of these things.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
that's the point that I like to kind of pinpoint on.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Talking about, like I mentioned, spermidine before. Like spermidine is a lot of people like to think about it as this crazy strong longevity ingredient, but it covers 9 out of the 12 hallmarks of aging. Well, guess what? If you are effing up in the other three, spermidine is not going to be much good. So, so, and it's anyway, we're on the same page. What is interesting is like, how did you um transition, like what drew you to transition from a person that's talking about brain health and things that are more brosy, to be honest with
Yep.
you, because obviously men get more brain damage than women, I would assume.
I would,
uh,
yes.
so like I would say like things that are more bro oriented, whether it is the obviously go mix, which is like, hey, you can take you can drink protein anywhere, which is like the most male thing ever. uh,
It is.
Even though now everyone knows that protein is important, so like obviously like go mix and like brain damage too. I believe like in the last few years you have become more and having like an automotive wrap company to in the last few years you really made a change and you became more of like your products are more female oriented, whether it's
Yeah.
morning routine. I think the principles, we didn't even talk about morning routine, but like the principles of drinking lemon and apple cider vinegar in the morning are like, it's almost like they've been passed from mother to daughter or something. Like men have never
Yeah.
heard about that. And obviously hop, which is I believe the most
Very female forward.
yeah. I believe the most comprehensive longevity stack currently on the market.
I agree with that.
It is, you guys kind of chose the female side of the equation. You said, there are probably ingredients that are going to help men or women individually, and we kind of choose more the female side of the stack, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, there's a couple of things. It's a very good question. And I don't think I've been asked it before, so I like it. B, I actually think I have a really good answer for it. So
Okay.
number one, um, I have been in the supplement industry or health and wellness for years. I mean,
Hmm.
my entire career has been in health and wellness.
Hmm.
Um, and I own or have owned a portfolio of health and wellness companies, supplement companies, you name it. I've kind of been on every side of it, all the way from retail to manufacturing to brand distribution. I've done kind of all of that side of it.
Yeah.
The reality of the fact is that to this day, and I love my beautiful wife desperately for this, if my wife does not put my pills into my pill container, I don't take them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the reality of it. I think men are worse consumers from a business perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but it goes much further than that. I think that women, in particular, in the longevity industry, or just supplement industry, is the most underserved market that we have.
Yeah.
You and I have a very good mutual friend of ours, Amy Killen, Dr.
Yeah.
Amy Killen,
Shout out
who
to
has
Dr. Emikin.
shout out to the best,
Mm-hmm.
who has her hands, and I think she's really one of the leaders in this kind of I don't even want to discredit it by saying female empowerment, but I really do believe it is this female movement for longevity, anti-aging, and really saying enough is enough. We need to draw a line in the sand. We need to have women as a represented demographic in this industry, because their bodies are different, right?
Yeah.
The way that they age is different. The way that we age, hormones are different, all that kind of stuff. Now, to get specific on hop, I believe when we were putting hop together, we put the 19 most clinically backed supplements, for lack of a better term, that you can't necessarily find in food together, that we believe help combat the downfalls of aging, is what we call them, or the hallmarks of aging, as
Mm-hmm.
everyone uses. And I believe in my core that it is the most comprehensive longevity stack out there. No ifs, ands, or buts. Um,
Yeah.
what we were finding is that what we found is that there was a ton of companies that were, going towards men, and it was very masculine feeling. And, with Amy being our CEO and the head of our company, we felt as though, not I, that there was an underserved market that really needed to, be addressed. And, when you look at things like that, I just think that that's the right patient demographic, the right market to go after, because they're also your best product champions.
Yeah.
Um, I think when you talk about something like morning routine, it's probably my favorite hydration. Obviously, I'm biased. I own the
Mm-hmm.
company, but it's my favorite hydration product on the market, right? It's got digestive support. It's got natural vitamin C. We do all of our flavoring with just organic lemon, crystallized organic lemon, and monk fruit. That's it. And I do believe it's how everyone should start the morning. I think that if everyone started, with something like that, our digestion would be better. The acidity of our gut would be better. I believe that people would be more hydrated. But I also believe in hop in the sense that we need to make things more accessible to the general consumer. We need to make it easier, and we also need to have it not be intimidating. Most supplement companies out there, if we were smart with hop, what we would have done is we would have taken each one of our capsules, right? We have Hourglass Tipper, and we have Bee's Needs, and we have the Equalizer, and we have Daily D, and we have, we would have made each one of those their own individual capsule, and each one of them would have been, $50 to $100. And you end up spending four, five, $600 a month to have your longevity stack, and that's just not sustainable for most
Mm-hmm.
people. And
Yeah.
so when Amy and I and the rest of the team got together, we wanted to give them a fun way to be educated on what is actually happening in their body, and we also wanted to give them a way to do it affordably and
Mm-hmm.
accessibly, to really help combat the downfalls of aging, or what, the hallmarks. And I think
Yeah.
that we've done our damnedest to be able to do that. And obviously, you and I have a little collaboration coming, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
Um, which I guess we can touch on without giving too much away, but really attacking aging from the inside and outside of the body.
Yeah. I agree. I think a lot of there is a challenge, and I want to touch on the collaboration. But you've said something that I think should be addressed, because it is the real challenge for just people who just want to be healthy, continue with their lives, not get a PhD in what supplements I need, etc., which is, first of all, the real problem of decision fatigue.
Oh,
If people don't know,
yes.
and I've spoken about it before extensively, we are able to make about 25 good decisions a day. That includes what I would wear, what I want to eat. Should I take that route to my job or this route? Every decision we make gets into this decision fatigue tally.
Right.
And I would say, first of all, so something, for example, like hop, which takes the most needle moving elements of supplements available, as far as like longevity, and that's triad that I spoke about before, or morning routine, who takes this ritual, really, whether you want to do it or not, of mixing, apple cider vinegar and lemon, and making it taste good in the morning, really condensing it into a pouch or a sachet, for that matter, and being able to drink it. You really are strategically improving your ability to make other decisions. What is the problem here? The problem is that there is no regulation around it. Like, you need to trust PJ and for that matter, like Dr. Amy Kinnan. Like, that's
Right.
the truth. If PJ were to put their ground sawdust with different colored, tablets, no one would know. Like the FDA now, I saw Brian Callen, the comedian, post about it.
Yep.
The FDA uncovered, like, randomly tested an ingredient because Joe Rogan posted about it. And that was supposed to be some natural shilajit derived um, anti-inflammatory, and it was called gold something or whatever.
I saw this.
And they found out it has like ibuprofen or something like that, or Tylenol. So you that's one example out of a million. We see it in skincare, where clean skincare
It's
companies,
everywhere. It's
yeah,
everywhere.
we see, so we see it in clean skincare companies. We look at the ingredients, we're like, hey, you have no way of stabilizing this. Like, two things may happen. Either you're serving mold in a jar, which is
Right.
possible, or you are lying about your ingredients. You are omitting, preservatives, basically, to be able
Totally.
to what I call clean wash your product. So that's the problem. Is I think supplements has by far the biggest problem.
By far. Well,
By far.
look at the studies that came out on Amazon, the amount of
Yeah.
Amazon tests that they did, and there was like it was like 70% of companies that were like not label accurate, right?
Hmm.
Um, Not every company does what I do. I manufacture, not I, we manufacture, every one of our companies is an NSF certified manufacturing facility.
Hmm.
So I am in charge of the raw ingredient ordering, which is I source from FDA pharma grade, manufacturing facilities, which it is ID tested the minute it gets shipped out. It is ID tested for
Yeah.
concentration and transparency and purity the minute it gets into the manufacturing. Then right after the manufacturing, it is then ID tested again to make sure it is the actual concentration that we are claiming on the labels. And then we have a quality test where we actually leave product in reserve that we test, 4 weeks later before anything is batch shipment, approved, to make sure that it is still the same, that all the moisture testing, the concentration, all of that is done for every company that I'm involved with. Not everyone does that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's a problem. I will always fall back on our quality. I will always fall back on your quality. I know that people are doing it the right way. And I hope that these are the companies that people are exposed to, because it is a ridiculously important thing.
Yeah.
You have to trust the supplements that you're putting in your body or topicals that are going on your skin. Um, it's ridiculously important. And
Hmm.
I think it's where we as smaller companies do have to band together that are doing the right thing, that are trying to put our best foot forward. We don't have the marketing budgets that some of these massive, massive conglomerates have. And when you see these companies exit, you see their quality drop. And we see it time and time again because it's all about the bottom line.
Yeah.
When Amy and I put Hop together, I remember calling you and saying, dude, I'm going to put together this company called the Human Optimization Project, and I don't care about the cost. I
Yeah.
don't care how much it costs us to make this product, because I want to make sure that it is everything that we take on a daily basis. And you were a big part of a lot of the thought process behind some of the ingredient portfolio. um, to make sure it was the clinically backed, most efficacious version, whether it was the apigenin in there or the spermidine in there, or NR versus NMN. Um, we are definitely not the cheapest manufactured product,
No,
and we're never going to be.
no, for sure. And it's very tempting. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's just you looking the other way. Like I remember we talking with this NAD like precursor manufacturer, and they have a specific claim. Hey, this is what we can do, or these are you know our product is like 10 times more bioavailable than something else, and all you have to do is like, oh, I'll take it. I'll take your word for it and I'll run with it, right? The story is actually you just didn't continue with them. We brought the products in, kind of tested them for their claims, and the claims were actually, it wasn't a bad product, but it was not what was claimed, right?
Right.
Like so, and that's the biggest NMN manufacturer in the world. Number one, making supplying NMN for 2,000 companies sold in the United States. So yeah, so that is for sure. Another thing that I think is really, really overlooked is dynamic lifestyle.
Oh,
Because
preach.
you know what, we can talk about what I call, by the way, I think most supplements, especially supplements that are very traditional, which is kind of what you guys didn't do, which is every ingredient gets its own bottle. um I think it's what I call the Planet Fitness model, right? It's like, hey, subscribe to this. You need that amount a month. It costs this much, and subscribe. And then you hope that the person never unsubscribes. Planet Fitness, the statistic is that 90% of the people, subscribe to Planet Fitness never entered Planet Fitness. And what I love
That's
about
insane.
insane, right? And when I was traveling a lot, I actually had a Planet Fitness subscription. And when we stopped traveling so much, we have a baby, stuff like that. I wanted to cancel it. Well, apparently they say, oh, you want to cancel it? You got to come to us. Which is nuts. Like the only time you'll come to Life and Fitness is to Planet Fitness is when you want to cancel your subscription. But that's what they count on, right? And I think in both skincare, but also obviously supplementation first and foremost, and health, I think in general, we have a dynamic lifestyle. We travel. We are people that are
Yes.
interested in health optimization. Normally, they're go-getters. They go out and get, and sometimes they forget themselves within the hectic life of work, travel, vacation, whatever that is. There is no easy, again, decision fatigue averse uh
Yes.
product. And that maybe is what I like about hop the most. Actually, also morning routine, but that's what I like about hop the most, which is the ease of uh, of travel. One sachet has everything. Yeah.
It's just easy to use.
Hmm.
I think you and I talk about this all the time. I believe that in today's world, or I don't even believe, I think it's a fact. People are busier than ever, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's to and from kids' sports, whether it's on the go for work or for
Yeah.
travel or for pleasure, whatever it is, we have the most available. You can get on an airplane today and go wherever in the world you want, outside of restrictions.
Yeah.
But your accessibility to go anywhere, and kids are able to do that, families are able to do that, outside of the monetary perspective.
Hmm.
Um, but it is very easy. Like I did 90 flights last year, just under.
Wow.
Um, I mean, my travel schedule. And
Yes.
so when it becomes complex, am I going to travel with 400 different supplements? No. Am I going to travel with 20 supplement bottles? No. No way
First
in
of all,
heck.
I got stopped in the airport because they thought my glycine and NAC powder from pure encapsulation, by the way, does not taste good. Pure encapsulation, please change the flavor. horrible. Um, they thought it's cocaine.
Oh, dude, I have a story for you, which we will not do on this podcast, of
Okay.
the first time I traveled to Mexico with a business partner of mine where he actually got arrested.
Oh
Um,
wow.
oh yeah, dude. It's that's number one, that's an issue,
Hmm.
right? Like just the accessibility. Number two, to your point, whether it's decision fatigue or just your ability to try and keep up with everything that all of us have going on a regular basis, it becomes exhausting. And if you expect me to put 20 different capsules into a plastic baggie before I travel, it just ain't going to happen. I'm not going to
Hmm.
do it at home, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest, right? To give a shameless plug to Young Goose, I've never been a skincare guy in my life. I've never used it until I met my best friend. And I
Hmm.
use Young Goose products. I don't use the whole product line, but it's something that I can use every single day, twice a day, whether it's the youth reset, whether it's the care cream. Like those are things that A, I notice a substantial difference with, but B, they're easy for me to use. And I have the travel size, I can put it into my, which I don't know if those are live yet, but they
They're
will
not
be
live
live.
yet. You have, preferential treatment, but yeah, sure.
But I put them into my travel tote every time I travel, and those are like it's built a consistent routine for me. When
Hmm.
I am traveling or when I'm on the go, I have my morning routine in the morning. I get up, I shower, I do my thing, I put my care cream on, my youth reset. Like those are all things that I can do consistently. I have 2 hot packets for every day I travel because I know that I'm probably not going to be able to eat the best. I know that I'm not going to be sleeping the best. So if I can have these small little wins, that consistency is key, right? It's not
Hmm.
intensity, it's consistency. But on top of that, it's easy for me to do. It's
One
so
million
simple.
percent. And so the story goes like that. So I was in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta, and I took with me hop. And normally, the true story is I am the worst. The worst. I'll quote you. I'm a bio slacker when I travel. Just I have like I need to have I cram my schedule. Basically, I prepare 3 days wherever it is, and I tell my team, hey, just load the schedule.
Just go.
Some people know like this is actually no, it was in Hawaii when I thought about it. But some people know I don't I'm not going to be in Hawaii for the next couple of years again. So whoever wants to meet me in Hawaii, here's your chance. Go, right? And um and normally I just basically I resort to like bunless burgers and the lettuce wrap they come in, and hope that everything's going to be okay. Well, I had in my little fanny pack, in my what's it called, the man purse that I
The
carry,
man purse that
the
you
man
carry.
purse that I carry. I had hop, and I took it after my bunless burger. And I was like, oh my God, I have an idea. Everyone that uses Young Goose, it will behoove them. You know what? It behooves us as a company that at the end of the day, we benefit from someone having a better lifestyle because it then reflects on us. Their skin looks better and they use our products. And I call you and actually text you, and I text Amy and I say, I have an idea. We should we should basically create a pack for people who are traveling. It's not going to be out for a while. Probably this podcast is going to be out a few months before this pack is out. But
Yes.
I think it's also important for people to know what's going on behind the scenes. And we said, let's make a pack for people who are traveling. Going to call it boom. Going to call it Travel Younger, and pow. And that is going to be to allow people to have the basics to thrive in a very hectic environment. Hey, this is what you need. Put it into your, pack, and you're good to go. That's it.
Good to go.
Decision's done. Decisions done. Concentrate on what's important for you with your life.
I love the campaign.
Yeah.
I have to give credit where credit is due. You came up with this concept of travel younger, and I didn't like it at first. I pushed back. I was like, oh, I don't know. Let's see. Let's look at some other terms. But I think it encompasses. I think you and I both have a similar definition for what travel younger means,
Yeah.
and I think it's the accessibility to things that help benefit your life when you're on the go. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're living this luxurious travel on a regular basis and you're going to Bali and Hawaii and you're traveling younger. No, the reality of the fact is travel is anything.
Yeah.
It's my on the go lifestyle. It's your on the go lifestyle. You and I have A4M coming up. We have trade shows where how do I have a small win on a regular basis when I am traveling or when I'm on the go or when the soccer mom is throwing her kids in the car trying to get out the door or when any of these people are just go, 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 how do we make it more accessible? And that's what I love about the Travel Younger campaign. And obviously, we have been working very hard on it. There's a
Yeah.
lot to come.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think there's two things that get me extremely excited. Number one, I use the products. My wife used the products. We use them habitually every day. They are part of our daily routine. And the fact that we're able to help people combat aging both from the inside and outside, and they are such complementary products,
Yeah.
right? All the way from the hallmarks of aging, what we call the downfalls of aging, but also to just genuinely your skin appearance, your skin health,
Yeah.
the ingredients they pair, in my opinion, perfectly together.
Yeah.
And the format that we have coming and kind of the I don't want to call it exclusivity, but there is going to be some really fun things. And I think we should probably get a sign up list put together for this when this podcast drops for
Let's
people.
go. Let's go. I'm putting it right now in in the notes. I'm going to do it right now. Um,
Because it
cre-
is a limited quantity
yeah, yeah, yeah,
to start. It is something that we are always going to be doing. We are always going to have this collaboration. But as far as the way that we are announcing it, there's going to be a little bit of a collectability to things and a limited quantity. And I think we've kind of goosed down, pun
yeah,
intended. See what I did there? I think
yeah,
we've goosed down what that quantity is. But also, if anyone is going to be at A4M, we are going to have some there.
yeah.
Or we're going to have the collaboration there to probably soft launch, maybe official
Soft
announcement.
launch, official announcement, some nice things for people to experience. And I would also say, you know, really, if someone listening to this podcast and it piqued their interest, we're gonna have only in the show notes a sign up sheet or whatever we are
Yes.
going to wrestle up, and that's gonna be it. It's like a hidden what's it called? It's like a what's it called in video games?
Oh, it's
It's
an
like
Easter
a
egg.
Easter egg. It's you see, I'm too Jewish to know. Anyway, so it's an Easter egg. If people didn't last, the 50 minutes that we're talking until now, they wouldn't know about it. So to the people that stayed until now, if you register, you're the first to know about it. You're going to be the first on that list. So it's pretty cool, I think. Good job, PJ. Good idea.
I'm excited about it. I think I don't want to give too much away, but all I can say is that I genuinely believe if you were to pick 3 longevity products that you could put together that are genuinely what I believe that every person should take, I think these are the 3 products.
Amen.
I think this is the go-to, this is the baseline that every single person, man, woman, obviously we are targeting a female demographic, but I genuinely believe that that is the go-to.
Me too. And I would say like that. These are the products to take to a deserted island, and for 2 reasons. You want to live long enough for you to be rescued, and you also want to look well when they rescue you. So
Hey.
they need to want to rescue as well. You as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's overall, it's everything. Not that we'll go all into it. There'll be
No.
information, but it's overall skin appearance,
Yeah.
it's skin health, it's mitochondrial support, it's metabolic support.
Yeah.
It's those hallmarks that we are attacking, and I am A, honored to be in collaboration, but B, I am just super excited to get this launched and for the future adventures that we'll have in this campaign.
Amen. Amen. Well, listen, I am getting pinged that apparently it's time for me to be a dad. And
Yes.
PJ, I appreciate your time. I obviously love everything that you're doing. Love you, love our collaborations and what you are doing as an individual. And I congratulate you for the amazing things you have done until now and that you will do. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was great.
My friend, I love you as always. I cannot wait to see you at A4M. Thank you for the
Amen.
time. And I will talk to you very soon.
Amen. Thank you, guys. Bye, everyone.